Test, prove, automate. What generally happens is people think they have the best thing possible and they automate it and they set and forget. And even before automation was a thing, like people would just kind of be like, this is the process I do, just do it and do it. They weren't measuring it all that well. And then asking the most important question that ever needed to be asked was, could this be better?
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. It's Rick Nuske, and do I have somebody incredibly special lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about all things marketing. We're going to be talking about all things optimization, tracking, and the list goes on and on. With all that being said, I'm on the line with the incredible Justin Rondeau. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, look, some years ago I met you at a conference in Sydney from Digital Marketer with the likes of Ryan and Richard and yourself, Janine Ellis, Naomi Simpson, Ed Dale, Nick Bowditch, Troy Dean, and the list goes on. And I mentioned to you at the time, just prior to the call, Justin, how that event actually transformed my entire life. And I'd love to talk about that in some detail as we go into the core of the call. But the best place for us to start is to learn more about you, because I like to strip away the mechanics of business for a bit, because mechanics of business is business. We know that there's a process to follow, but I'm more interested in you right now. Things like, where are you located? Let's start there.
All right, so I'm actually down in Austin, Texas these days. So that's where like the Digital Marketer headquarters is and those things. So I used to be from up in the Northeast. So as a Boston guy, hardcore Boston Bruins fan, and just in general, just like Northeast guy through and through, then I realized like I really don't like the winter and moved down, and it was a really good thing to do because just Digital Marketer was here. I'd been working for them remotely. I was one of the few remote employees they had at the time.
Yep.
And then I was like, hey, let's see what happens, and let's do this thing. Like let's renew our vows. So to say, and moved on down.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Now I know you've had a long, illustrious relationship with the guys and the entire team through Digital Marketing and Scalable and all the rest. And I'd like to ask you a bit later on, what are the relationships with all those organisations? Because sometimes they can be quite confusing. And just to clarify where you sit in the mix would be wonderful to understand. But coming back to you now, given that you've moved closer to the work base, what's a daily routine look like for you?
Daily routine is, it changed significantly with COVID, and this is on YouTube. Then I just ruined rankings, so I'm sorry. I'll say like that thing that must not be named, as I'll say after that.
Oh yes,
but. We had a really solid community of 50 people going into the office. So my mornings just generally wake up, go get a breakfast taco and some coffee, run into the office, try to beat everybody there. There's always one dude. Our copywriter would always he and I would always try to beat each other in the office, see who could do it first. And we had that kind of thing going on for a long time. But the days change. Like we've run into now, the days are different now. Now that we're post all this stuff, everything's like async. I've been running teams for the last 6 months where we run almost completely asynchronously.
Yeah, wow.
Because we just really decided a year ago almost today, because it'd be the 13th was when we decided to get rid of the office. Well, we still have the office, but we didn't require anybody to go anymore.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh my gosh. And we said, hey, everyone, you don't have to come in anymore. And it's been about a year now, but yeah, we really started embracing, not all the teams do async. I work with a lot of developers now, so we've been doing a lot of async stuff, and it's been crazy. It's changed my life.
Yeah,
to be quite honest, my entire life changed when we started doing that.
I can only imagine. I mean, the world as one, we've all had to, I guess, change and transform into something new. And there's been a lot of opportunities that's come from it, hasn't there?
Oh gosh, Yeah, I mean, the world will not be the same after this.
Yeah.
Like, there's like the idea of just like globalization is like, I think sometimes a bad word, but it like the global market just opened up to like a new level.
Yeah,
with all of this.
And now you touched on sports and some of the things you like following. Given how busy you are, do you have any time to have any hobbies? And what's your thing if you do?
Hobbies. I'm a musician through and through. So I've played bass since I was actually my mom. I wanted to be a guitarist, and my mom bought me the wrong thing when I was a kid, and so I learned how to play the bass guitar.
No pick, just slap, right?
Yeah. Oh, I finger style. Like, that's more my thing. Slaps. I'm decent at it. But no, I generally try to play like I have my whole thing down there. But I was a musician, and then just in terms of other hobbies, like huge hockey fan. Like I love hockey, and I like video games. So Those are my three things.
Excellent. No, I just every time I think about slap bass, I think of Davey 504.
Oh my gosh, Davey 504 is amazing. He actually and he's also so gracious because he made another person's channel that never existed before, Charles Birthhound.
Yeah.
He's a better composer, but like objectively better bass player than Davey 504. And he built this whole guy up, and like actually now this guy has probably about 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Like it's crazy.
Whatever you do, slap the bass and subscribe.
Slap it a bit and always subscribe.
I just love his style. You know, he's very much the self-made marketer, isn't he?
Oh, he's unbelievable. It like that's where I actually learn a lot of my stuff. So I mean, granted, like I've worked with the greatest people in marketing forever, but then you have the accidental marketers that run into the place, and you have especially in things like YouTube, TikTok, and those things, like they all run in there. And Davey 504 is the perfect example of like the accidental marketer.
Yep.
And holy crap, like oh my gosh, I love his channel. I live for it.
Yep.
And he's exactly the type of person that understands the idea of like create value, call to action, keep going.
Yeah, you talk about the accidental entrepreneur, and that's actually a thing on your website, and we can talk about that a little bit later on. But in terms of video games, I'm very interested. I'm a gamer myself. What do you like to play?
So one of my biggest ones, and I've been playing it since like NHL 2008 was out. Like I'm a huge hockey game fan. I have a lot of stories to go with this game. Like one time, my buddies that ran this company, Clever Bridge, they're based out of Chicago and Cologne, Germany. Yep. They were having and this is one of my earliest jobs. We were there for one of their user conferences, and there was a group of people that also liked playing the hockey video game, to the point where we bought a PlayStation, got it in the hotel room, and all played each other. Which was actually kind of funny because they were there. I killed them. Like it was and the whole time, and I'm not proud of this. So they were from Russia and I was from the US. I was yelling "Miracle on Ice" the whole time.
You are dead and buried to me.
It was actually funny because we had translators like in the room to like, because we were talking so much trash the entire time to like do that, which was actually a lot of fun.
That's wonderful.
I
love it. Thank you for sharing. I mean, this is why I enjoy doing what I do so much, because you get to, I guess, unwrap that envelope a little bit into people's lives. So it's very valuable. Thank you so very much. Now, given that you are so busy, I guess things are slowly coming back to normal. But when you have the opportunity, how valuable is it for you to have downtime? Just by yourself, just to relax. How important is that?
I mean, it's super important. I always thought of myself as like the ultimate extrovert, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm like an extroverted introvert in that, like, I know like my batteries, if they get to max, it's game over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I learned that I learned that early on in my career, and I think that's a big thing for anybody who's like new in the space or doing anything. It's like know your like your power times, and then know like when you need a recharge. That was one of the best lessons I ever got. Like when I was in school, was one, like understand understand your work times. Like I work best right when I wake up. And so I wake up acute and then there's no distractions so I can do things. But then I also run into scenarios where being like in, type of person who speaks places and does all that stuff, like where you have to go all the way to the edge and then where your falling off point is. So it's an understanding of knowing yourself and that level. So like I absolutely need time to recharge after, more things now as I'm getting older. Like,
Absolutely.
I think when I was younger, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, like, let's do whatever. And then even more now, it's like exponentially different at this point.
Yeah,
so it's a learning process. Yeah.
And this is valuable insights for those who are listening. So if you are listening, take notice of this because things do change as you get older. But you talked about, school, and I like to go way back when I talk to people like yourself. And one of the things I like to try and draw out is one of your fondest childhood memories. What can you remember as a child that sticks out for you? Just one memory. There's probably lots of them.
There's lots of good stuff. As much of like an indoor kid as I am now, I was an outdoor kid back in the day. So like I lived on a dead end street right by a river, and so I spent most of the time out with my friends, and we'd build forts and kind of hang out and just kind of like jump on. I remember I have a actually very vivid memory of jumping rocks, and this one rock we didn't jump on because we realized there was a pattern on it and it was a snapping turtle. And so like and so that's I grew up kind of more not rural New Hampshire. Rural New Hampshire is like up New Hampshire, but New Hampshire in general is going to be rural as it stands. I think that's one memory that'll always stick out with me because like we lived in a good area and did that type of stuff.
Yeah, I love it. In your formative years, who was somebody in your life that was close to you that you always looked up to and listened to the most, do you think?
Man, it's weird to think about that because when you say formative years, actually, let's define formative years.
Early, teens, start of teens, mid-teens, early adulthood.
Start of teens.
When you were the most impressionable, as it were.
Gosh, it was actually, it's going to sound lame, but it's my neighbor.
Oh, really? It's not lame, not at all.
My across the street neighbor, he was pretty much my surrogate father at that time. Yeah. And so we just always actually he passed 3 years ago, either today or yesterday. Actually, I don't know what today is. He was always a pretty big impact in my life, and just in general, like having that positive impact was able to, like, when you had that positive reinforcement, be like, hey, I'm doing this thing, or I was learning something, and I sucked at the stuff I was telling you I was showing him. Like, I sucked at it.
Absolutely. And
he, the entire time, was like, you're great. He was my biggest fan the entire time.
Yeah, and you do need the biggest fans, and that's a huge takeaway, that you do need people around you. You need to revolve around people who are, I guess, smarter than you, wiser than you, supportive of you, all of these things. Now, talking about all of the wonderful things you've done, I want to just start at the very start and ask you, Justin, what was your first entrepreneurial experience?
Gosh, that's an interesting question for someone like me. So for me, I'm more of an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So I'm not the one that's gonna be the guy that goes, let's do this whole, like, I'm not an entrepreneur.
Right.
And I think that might have been my first entrepreneurial experience, was to say I'm not that. I'm very much an entrepreneur, and like I like working with teams and like working with people.
Yeah.
And so I think what I realized, like, I wanted to be able to do, though, is I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was measurable and I was having an impact on the overall vision of whatever things were. So I was never trying to create the vision or create those things, and I've done it in times, but it's not my natural genius, and it's not those types of things. But like I know, like where I have a plan or something to go run down, like I point me in a direction, just let me run and I'll go.
And you go.
And when I understood, like, that's the type of person I was, that was a game changer for me.
Because everybody, most of the people that I've spoken to, and I asked that question, oh, well, it was this, but not too often have I heard people say, you know what, I'm better working as part of a team. So that's a really,
Yep.
really powerful thing. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, you
Sure.
in your field, you would have a need to be continually refreshing and learning more. So how important is continual learning in any particular role?
It's one of the most important things you can have. Like the whole idea is like when we hire, like we always look for hungry, humble, and smart, and hungry is what's important. Like if you don't have that first H, you're gonna flatline. And it's interesting to me because I used to define myself as like the young guy in the space, and now I'm not anymore, which is weird. Because time's the son of a bitch.
What happened?
But, I know, exactly.
I'm with you.
I used to be the young guy in this space. But then you look at it and you can see that there's certain types of workers and types of those like that, like, hey, we're here for a year, or like they have a playbook or they have a whatever, right? And it's interesting to try to identify where you stand with that when you're either an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. Yeah. Trying to be like, what value do I bring to the conversation or to the scenario? And then it's wild to see, like, there's people that I highly respect, that I watch how they do career jumping. Mm-hmm. And then you're just like, eventually that's got to catch up with you. And then it just doesn't. But it's because they have a particular playbook and they know, like, if they can provide this value there, then it's going to be exponentially better for them and from a career side of things, right?
Yeah. So when you're learning, what's your modus operandi? Are you a video learner? Do you listen through audio? What do you like to do? How's the best way to get through to you?
I
see and do.
I like to listen. Mm-hmm. I like to listen, and I like to do.
Yeah.
Reading. I'm great. I can read. I think that's that's the most basic thing anybody can say. Man, can I read? I like. I don't do audiobooks because I like music too much, so I can't listen. I can't listen to books going to me. But I'll crush through a book. I'm very academic when I read. It's like a general master class of like how you would study for a test. Like that's how I read. I don't particularly read for pleasure. I read to get an idea of something.
Yep.
And then I try to find inspiration or learnings in different areas. So I generally, my best ideas and my best concepts have come not from reading like business books or reading marketing books or reading marketing blogs. It's come from like watching what people are doing and then going like, hey, what would happen if we did that? And then kind of going that route.
Yep, absolutely. Modeling success, as it were.
Yeah.
Now, I know that obviously you revolve around some incredibly talented names. I've mentioned them earlier, and that's just a small sample. Obviously, you've got others such as Roland Frazier and the likes. And right now, who is impressing you? Who do you look to as a mentor as such? Or do you just have a big soup of different people that you look to?
I wish I had like a name I could throw out there. Yeah. Honestly, like
there's
it's just many. I've been with this crew for so long at this point, where it's just that you're inundated with good ideas and good people. Yeah, it's hard to pick one. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Now, what was the genesis for your relationship with Digital Marketer? Where did that come from? And can we talk to that for a while?
It's actually kind of fun. So I now live in Austin, Texas, which is where DM is based, and it's actually kind of funny. The building I live in is across from the building's not there anymore. That I met Ryan and Roland in. I was here when I was at Witch Test 1. We had a half-day seminar and then a 2-day conference that we were running at the Austin Music Hall. And Ryan and Roland sat through my half-day seminar, and then we started chatting. And then from there, like, we were trying to figure out a way we could get those two companies working together. They had me speak. I was one of the first speakers outside of their group that they allowed speak at Traffic and Conversion Summit, and they had me there. We did all this stuff together, and then eventually, when I was ready to move on from the company I was at, they were like, "Hey, just come over here."
Just come
And I
over.
was like, "Hell yeah,
Come across
let's
the next
do it."
door. Yeah, fantastic. And the rest
Yeah.
is history, as it were. You know, there's been obviously a lot of growth for you during that time. Now, if your LinkedIn bio serves me correctly, sometime in 2020, you, I guess, diverted your focus from being the core at Digital Marketer for optimization onto, well, Scalable's the overarching body corporate, right? And then you've got Digital Marketer, that's a product or a brand. And then you've obviously got TruConversion. What is your focus now completely?
So right now my complete focus is on all software development. So I run anything that needs to be done with developers. I run those companies. And so, the trajectory was started as optimization, ran the marketing team, ran the company, then jumped up to, hey, we have all these other companies, let's start working through these. So that was kind of the trajectory there. And then now we have TruConversion Recess.io, which is super exciting. I think that'll be really cool it's larger scale B2B. And then you have Praxio, and then a lot of internal tech we're working on. And now we're coming up with a bunch of different individual apps to fit for the media brands that we're working, because we believe that if you own the media, especially in the business world, there's going to be needs that people need, like, serviced, right?
Absolutely.
So the best way to do that is with software. So software should be the last part. Starting with a software company is silly.
Yeah.
If you don't have demand or media, you're going to spend a ton of money. Ask me how I know. I mean, it's not my money. It's Ryan's money.
That's okay. Then.
it's that money. But ask us how we know. Like, we know when you're trying to build, like, the most expensive thing you could ever do is try to, like, start from scratch or build a new, like, almost brand, like, if you're going to try to HubSpot, like, inbound marketing, good luck. It's going to cost you a ton of money, and the payoff won't be forever, but the payoff could be huge, but it's only could, right? And so that's why we're looking at more individual apps that would be sufficient for the media brands that we own.
Fantastic, and expand your library of services that you can offer. Now, Justin, when I was fortunate to spend time with Ryan, Richard, and everybody else at the Digital Marketer team cruising around a riverboat on Sydney Harbour, I was fortunate to get a few snaps with the crew, including yourself, and I bought, I was given actually a copy of Invisible Selling Machine, and inside, Ryan graciously spent time with me talking to me about what was important. He said in the book, "This journey is long, so test, prove, and underscored, then automate." Now, with that in mind, I want to ask you if you could just explain for those who don't really understand it, and then we'll talk about Conversion. What is tracking and optimization, and how relevant is what Ryan had said in my book?
I mean, that's the most relevant. Everybody needs to hear what he wrote there. Everybody. Test, prove, automate. What generally happens is people think they have the best thing possible, and they automate it, and they set and forget. Because even before automation was a thing, like, people would just kind of be like, "This is the process I do. Just do it and do it." They weren't one, measuring it all that well, and then asking the most important question that ever needed to be asked was, could this be better? So what he wrote there is should probably be almost like tattooed on anybody that markets.
Oh, I did. I got it immediately, on the inside of my lip. That's what I got tattooed. No.
The old like,
Never forget this rule. It's a golden one.
I did have a coworker that had Vegas tattooed there, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else had.
It's more common than what people might think, unfortunately. Now, in terms of, I guess, segueing from that conversation into TruConversion, which I've absolutely fallen in love with. Just so people have an idea about this, TruConversion is currently being promoted on a particular website that I guess you guys are going through to offer it as a lifetime deal. And now, what I've seen thus far in such a rapid amount of time is 5 stars with 45 plus and growing reviews. Now, I know that the people that buy this software from this particular site don't muck around. It's a real solid testing ground, and they will tell you the truth about what's going on. So it's a real credit to you, Justin, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, having used it, I was able to set up in a matter of moments. There is a slight learning curve, I think, for anybody that goes through this type of thing. But what I've found is that the support team are not only responsive, they're friendly. And to me, that makes all of the difference in the entire experience. But you know much more about this platform than I do. I'm wondering if you can talk to, how it helps you track and optimize and what you can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back a second. I was having almost stress dreams going on to AppSumo. We've had this product. I co-founded this product with another person, and then Digital Marketer bought it.
Right.
And so this has been a baby of mine. And I remember last Sunday night when this was going out, going I'm going to have all one tacos ever, and I'm going to hate this, and everyone's going to be so mean. And that's just, again, imposter syndrome. And then you never know. And one, just how everybody's responded to this, it's been mind blowing to me.
It's powerful.
And that, so I just need to get that out of the way.
No,
and
absolutely appreciate it.
The team that's built this up, if they ever listen to this, and if they listen to this, I want to give them the most props ever, because I have ideas, they actually implement it. Holy crap. And they've implemented it so well. Regardless, so the tool itself is, it's similar to some of the tools in the space where it's going to be an optimization suite, but where we spend our time is we really wanted to create an interconnected group of tools that start at being able to track marketing campaigns. Because everybody knows, it's hard as hell to track your stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if it's Google Analytics or if it's anything you're doing. It's hard, and then even if you're good at it, it's still tough. I'm pretty good. I don't want to be tooting my own horn, but I'm gonna toot real quick.
Well, you should.
I'm pretty damn good at Google Analytics. That's kind of one of my things.
Yep.
And it still is difficult for people to navigate, and it's because you can have so many things happen in so many different ways. And what we wanted to figure out was what do marketers care about? What matters to them?
Yep.
And what matters to them is to know, does this work? And if it's not working, why? And that's why we built the platform. Yeah. That's why the platform exists. And it allows you to try to glean why from a concept that I use as passive user data.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have ways to if you're just so flummoxed and you're I don't know why this thing's not doing what it should be, you can actually push active user data and ask surveys and other things as well. So that's the tool in a nutshell. We have a lot of cool stuff. I love it. It's kind of my baby.
Yep. And what I'd love to do, Justin, is to elaborate a little further for everybody who's on the call, and I'm happy to do that. We've obviously got some differentiation between a standard funnel and some smart funnels. The smart funnels, I almost fell off my seat with excitement because I was able to get some visibility on forms that I was using, and I knew when what cells people were filling in, what ones they were leaving, the time it took for them to move from cell to cell, really granular level stuff. Now, if this seems overwhelming, I love tech, and I guess I've been around it for long enough to know what I'm looking at, but I would suggest that anybody who doesn't really have an understanding, through your visible markers, you can just tell by following the yellow brick road as such where people are falling off and what you can do and how you can change your forms, just as a small example of what's going on here. But you've obviously got forms, which was a big one for me. You got your standard, pretty common heat tracking.
Yeah.
And your clicking and all that sort of stuff. But the other thing that really stuck out for me was your comparison reporting. Can you tell us what that is and why people would want to use that?
Yeah, comparisons. I'm actually surprised you found that one, to be quite honest. Comparisons was an idea that I had back in like a year ago, and then we put it in there, and it's kind of hidden on the comparison tracking there, which I'm actually super shocked that you're looking at that as soon as you got that.
I love it,
and I'm shocked and happy. But the idea is
well, I can stop using it if you like.
No, please don't. We also actually I got a good question. They're like, hey, what have you guys improved? It's like, well, here's the thing. We've done a lot of stuff, but we needed more people to tell us where we should be going and to put that. But the fact that comparisons are coming up, but the idea with comparisons is like, hey, you have this during this time and this during this time. You can literally look at them on the same screen and then see how is this improved or how is this not. That's a pretty novel idea in there, and not something that I've seen done well. I've seen it's been done before, but not seen it done well. And the other thing is we just wanted to create an interconnected set of tools. They all try to work together, whether you're doing heat map to heat map or funnel to heat map and recording, or using forms as a goal for your. We just wanted to create something that was this is the thing everybody should be using.
Yeah, no,
and that's why it was built.
I'm a Google Tag Manager lover.
Me too.
I try to avoid code bloat, especially as a WordPress base user, and Google Tag Manager has just transformed my world again. But just a quick summary for everybody who's wondering what's inside this amazing software. Obviously, you've got smart funnels, heat maps, forms, recordings, microsurveys, and surveys. And if you do nothing else, you better get over to AppSumo and have a look at it before it disappears. That's one thing I would strongly suggest you do, because this is a winner. It's not new. A lot of the time you see rubbish coming out on the platform, but this is not that. Absolutely. Go have a look at it. Now, Justin, what's coming up for you in the next 6 months or so? Any big plans?
Next 6 months, big plans on the platform. We're doubling down on the smart funnels feature.
Fantastic.
So we're working through a concept of funnel branching and other things where you can actually map complex funnels based off, and then that's the bigger one, and that's a big deal in general. Included in that would be funnel valuations, as well as likely checking it, connecting to Google ads and Facebook ads to get a ROAS report or something like that.
Yep.
The other side of it is we're going to be end up moving into integrations and those things. There was a lot of stuff where we saw we had some decent stuff, and then moving into that. But in general, the platform, I can see we have a concept for smart funnels as a leading entry point. So if anybody's listening to this after the AppSumo deal goes away, what you should absolutely do is at least buy smart funnels, because we're leading into we get it. Everybody's sick of subscriptions. We get it.
Yeah.
It happens. And so we lead with smart funnels as a perpetual license piece of software where you buy it once and that's it.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Yep.
You get that. Obviously, on the back end, where marketers will upsell you, will market to you about jumping into the rest of the platform.
Yep.
We'll also have prompts in the application, but we believe that coming up with standalone perpetual license pieces of software that move into a subscription is the way to go from a marketing perspective. And I think that's only better for the end user.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of our plan, is how we can, and I really wanted, the fact that we're going to be spending so much time in smart funnels shows that we're not trying to give you one piece of crap and then trying to upgrade you. We're not trying to give you a car without a wheel.
No.
We're trying to give you our best foot forward and then putting you into, the yacht, so to say, or something
So to
else.
speak.
That is the other foot.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to be the other foot, so you put yacht there. So.
No, thank you very much, Justin. Now, if anybody's wondering, I say this with sincerity. If you're wondering about the team behind this, don't, because you've got digital marketer, you've got the team, Richard Lindner, Ryan Dice, Justin, everybody else that makes up this incredible team, of whom I've met in the flesh, and they are the real deal. So if you do nothing else, make sure you reach out to Justin. Now that we're at the pointy end of the call, Justin, where do people find and connect with you?
I mean, they can find me on LinkedIn, Justin Rondeau. I have a beard in that one. You'll find me there. Twitter, JT Rondeau, and then I've always been on the digital marketer side of things. So if you're there, you'll see me.
You'll find him, absolutely. Well, look, that being said, Justin, I'll be making sure to make all of the links back to you so that people can find TruConversion. And if you do nothing else, get your hand on the Smart Funnel product. And with all this being said, I've had just an incredibly amount of fun spending some time with you on the My Future Business show today.
Oh, this has been a blast. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.